Hey guys, Kyle the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for My Hero Academia Chapter 199. So, the episode begins with exactly what I wanted to see, the backstory on Tokoyami's time with Hawks, and what I love about it is how the series of events play out exactly how we'd expect when it basically comes to working with someone like Hawks, even down to the reasons Hawks employed him to begin with, but we basically also see like when Hawks employed Tokoyami, he was just in such a he was just so happy go lucky about it. Like, hey, we're both birds, so it makes sense. It makes sense for it makes sense in order to work with me. But it also it's one of those things where it's such a happy go lucky reason, and yet at the same time it kind of works too because hey, who pretty much else other than someone who has a bird related quirk would basically know how Tokoyami's quirk works. I guess. I mean, I know Tokoyami's quirk is like a shadow quirk, but it's still technically, I guess, bird related. So he's still technically bird related, I guess, considering Tokoyami's appearance. So yeah, just it all works out perfectly in that sense. Um, down. But what I also like about that, other than like the reasons, is we also see how in Tokoyami's case, it was very much basically in Tokoyami's time of working with Hawks. It was basically a trial and error process. He didn't really learn much from the work experience, but only because he kept comparing himself. Exactly, he kept. If you look at what he was doing, he kept comparing himself too much to Hawks, which was holding him back, and just holding him back from pretty much even any actual like attempts or any actual desire to actually get stronger. And it was only after being reminded of the USJ incident that he was able to overcome that uncertainty. So pretty much by the time he ended up working with Hawks again during the internships, he was able to find the right motivation and the right path in order to get stronger, in order to get strong enough in order to fight on even playing field when uh, even playing field when Hawks wanted him back. And I do like how this chapter also does show that Hawks did actually form a connection with Tokoyami. Like it basically shows that pretty much Hawks actually does in fact care about Tokoyami. And like Hawks' whole caring personality. We saw this of course play out in the previous arc, but it was nice to know that he does have every intention of helping heroes for basically from grow stronger. It doesn't matter who it is. Like he wants to live in he wants to live in a world where, like he said it himself, he can live in a world where all he has to worry about are common criminals and the everyday thug. But so he's basically doing so he's every even when training Tokoyami, it of course had its purpose of, hey, I want to make this kid stronger, so I can relax a little easier. Um, and of course that they ended up forming a very believable. It was actually one of those. It was actually one of those things where even though the backstory is very short, the connection itself was very believable too. Um, Also, one thing that I really liked about it was a very quick panel, but one thing I really liked about that panel with Hawks questioning Tokoyami about the USJ incidents is that it has a double meaning. Because on one hand, Hawks questioning Tokoyami about the USJ incident did in fact help the latter in getting stronger, but it also plays into the overall plot of what we know about Hawks thus far, and how he's been serving as a double agent. In fact, this chapter in the previous arc, when when we see him working with Endeavor, really seemed to indicate that Hawks has been planting a lot of contingency plans in case a lot of contingency plans. Like he's been, it seems like Hawks has been doing his job as the government wants. he's been going undercover as a double agent in order to track down the League of Villains in order to stop them. But at the same time, it seems Hawks has also been trying to find. It seems Hawks has been also planting definitely more. You can see that Hawks has been planning definitely more than one contingency plan in case things go south with his mission. Like, it's almost like he's with this chapter. It's almost like he's with this chapter and what we know about Hawks previously. It's almost like he's expecting. It's almost like he's expecting things to go south. So it's it's like he basically having Endeavor prove himself as the number one hero was probably probably the main plan going forward in case he couldn't, in case what he's doing ended up basically failing. But I think training his sidekicks and Tokoyami was also part of preparing for basically any kind of worst case scenario. Like, Hawks is, well, we know about Hawks, like, Hawks is not the kind of guy who does things willy-nilly. Like, he might act it, but he's definitely one to in fact plan for any of that worst case scenario. And I think even though he probably wasn't aware of it, I think he was aware that, yeah, he definitely saw Tokoyami as someone who could probably take over for him in the future. And I think he probably sees, like, the future generation of heroes, like Tokoyami's generation of heroes is probably ones who are probably the only ones who can probably take over if things go south for him. But yeah, like, just some great, just a lot of great stuff in that one flashback, honestly. Now after that flashback, which was of course loaded, we basically return to the present where we see pretty much Class A and Class B pretty much duking out in the second exercise. We continue the exercise, and I'm not gonna lie, after reading this chapter, I've got some serious reservations about whether or not Class A is gonna win this set, because even though they did pretty much gain a slight advantage thanks to Tokoyami, this new mushroom character does indicate that Class B has been thinking several steps ahead this whole time. Like, we haven't even seen Kendo herself yet, who's more than likely the brains behind every step of what's going on. So, yeah, I have a feeling that things might go downhill very fast from here. I mean, on the flip side, I wouldn't be surprised if this continuing pressure on Class A actually pushes them and Yaoyorozu, especially even more on her feet. It pushes her even more to think even more on her feet than she usually does, even if Class A loses in the end. But yeah, as of right now, I really don't have high hopes for Class A winning this. I think Class B is actually going to take this because, like I said, we haven't even seen Kendo yet. So I think what Kendo's doing is when the time is right, she's basically going to strike, and she's going to capture all of Class A in, like, one fell swoop. So yeah. Either way, whatever the hell Kendo's planning, I definitely want to know more about this mushroom girl, because honestly, it just amazes me how Horikoshi still manages to keep the creativity with the quirks fresh enough to keep us interested. And yeah, this mushroom quirk is definitely odd enough for me to want to know more, or at least enough where my morbid curiosity is concerned with what that mushroom sprouting on Yaoyorozu's nose means. Because yeah, I almost think that's gonna be like she's gonna be trapped in, like, some kind of mushroom prison or something like that. But yeah. And okay, I'll say this. I know he did his part in the end with this chapter, and I love the mirror imagery of how Tokoyami was carrying basically Aoyama in the same way Hawks did for him. But seriously, has Aoyama learned nothing about watching his back? You'd think after all he's been through, he'd find a way to prevent shit like that from happening. In fact, honestly, like, I think there's, in fact, aside from the usual idea of just, like, paying fucking attention, There's really kind of a simple solution here in terms of his quirk. Like if Aoyama would really think about it, like all all Aoyama has to do is kind of refit his costume so he can shoot his laser on the back of his body, in the back of his body, the same way he distributes it to certain areas in the front of his body. But then again, Aoyama is a bit of a diva, so maybe he doesn't want to lose any of his costume's fanciness or something. I don't know. But yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, AnyList, Crunchyroll. But yeah, Dead Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.